Hey guys, it's Joe, and it's time for Puck It with Joe. Happy Monday. It's Monday, October 17th. I'm excited to talk hockey with you guys. You know, we had Battle of Alberta this weekend. I was in enemy territory up in Edmonton. Calgary got the win. Now, was I jumping up and down? No, because I didn't want to get killed. Surrounded by Edmonton Oilers fans. They're not that bad, but it was a weird situation sitting there not having a fan beside me that was supporting the Calgary Flames. I still jumped up. I still cheered for my Calgary Flames, but man, I tell you, what a game. Calgary got up nice, hard, and fast in that one. Now, we have seen some great games in this first week of the regular season. I'm excited. We've got some great games on the ice tonight. 9 games, in fact. And what we're going to do on Puck It with Joe, this will be daily, you guys. I'm going to break down each and every single one of these 9 games. I'm going to give you my leans on all of them. If you are looking for my premium picks, which games I like the most out of these, you can just click the link in my bio. You'll find all the places you can buy my best bets. Let's jump right into it. We've got a lot of games to go over. I don't want to be here all day. You guys don't want to sit here all day. We're going to start with the Anaheim Ducks taking on the New York Rangers. Now, I have a lot of faith in this Rangers team this season. I think what we will see out of them is a really solid one. The New York Rangers played phenomenally last season in the playoffs. Just weren't able to make it, though. Igor Shesterkin, their goalie, is phenomenal. Tonight versus the Ducks, they're coming in as a huge favorite at minus 240. I am seeing on that money line right now, we're seeing the majority of the money coming in on the New York Rangers. Now the Rangers are 2-1 on the season. The Anaheim Ducks are rolling in here 1-1. They lost their last game to the New York Islanders. And I'm sorry, that was their very first game. They lost to the New York Islanders. This team has not made the improvements I was hoping to see for the Ducks to be a competitive team that I'm going to say, hey, wait a minute. Why are the New York Rangers minus 240? There's a reason the New York Rangers are minus 240 against this Ducks team. The Ducks just have struggled. They struggled last season. They're starting to struggle again this season. We've seen them go 1-5 in the last 6 meetings versus the New York Rangers. I think this Rangers team that, other than losing to the Winnipeg Jets, has come out phenomenally. They won versus the Tampa Bay Lightning in that opening game. I think what we're going to see is strong defense on both sides here. I'm going to roll with the under. We got a total of 6. Give me the under a 6 in this one. And New York Rangers, you could take them on that puck line, but because I'm liking the under, I lean away from that puck line just in case. Now, the under is 9-4-2 in the last 15 meetings in New York. So going to roll with the under 6 between the Anaheim Ducks and the New York Rangers. Let's move on to the next game, you guys. We've got the Arizona Coyotes taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, the Toronto Maple Leafs are enormous favorites here on that money line. Please, I caution you before you put them in a parlay not to do it. They're minus 550. Yes, they might get the win. Will they cover the puck line? I don't know. Will they even cover that extended puck line? It's minus 2.5 if you want any value for them to cover that. Arizona has been a team that is a nemesis for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I find it hard to believe that the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to come in here and dominate over Arizona just because of what we've seen in the past. Now, Arizona, don't get me wrong, they're not on the same caliber as Toronto, but every team has a team that they just can't beat. Now, when we look at Arizona versus the Toronto Maple Leafs, they are 6-1 in the last 7 in Toronto. They've rolled into Toronto and done this. They're plus 400 right now on that money line. Worth a sprinkle? Absolutely they are. They're worth a huge sprinkle here for me. I'm liking them. You can take them plus 2.5 on that puck line at minus 112. Now, will this be a bet that will pay off every time? Taking a bad team to beat a team that they're the nemesis? No, absolutely it won't. In one of the last 7 meetings, if you took them on that money line, because I promise you, they've been a dog in every situation going into Toronto. You have lost one of the 7, but you've won 6. So for me, it's automatic every time Arizona rolls into Toronto until this pattern starts changing, until Toronto proves themselves that they can beat the Arizona Coyotes. I'm always going to hit the Arizona Coyotes sprinkled on that money line, then plus on that puck line plus whatever goals we're getting. Now, plus 2.5 here is minus 112. So there is still great value. Samsonov for the Toronto Blue Jays. He's looked pretty solid so far this season. Now, I've given out on the Cup of Joe. I am going to take Austin Matthews for goals and assists over 1.5 tonight. I think he comes out solid in this one. We have strong trends to the under between these two, with the under hitting in 8 of those last 11 meetings. So we should have a good game here. We know the Coyotes are 0-2 on the season. Toronto 2-1 on the season. Can we trust the Leafs here? No. Because you can never trust the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's look at the next game on the ice. We have the Florida Panthers taking on the Boston Bruins. Now, I'm actually really excited for this one. I think Boston has a fantastic chance of getting a win here at home. We're getting them plus 110 versus the Florida Panthers. Now, the Florida Panthers have come out so strong on the season. 2-0 on the season, 2-0 for the Boston Bruins as well. Allmark for the Bruins. I really like what we've seen out of him in goal. Bobrovsky for the Florida Panthers. 2 good goalies, but 2 teams also that are putting up the points. We saw the Florida Panthers get a nice win over the Islanders, a win over the Buffalo Sabres. They really are forming a solid team. They've got Tkachuk. He was with the Calgary Flames before. I liked what I've seen with him with the Panthers, but again, he's causing shit. He's making trouble out there on the ice. If the Florida Panthers get in that penalty box because of Tkachuk, Boston wins this game. I like them here on that money line at plus 110. What I also really like in this one is the under 6.5. I think we're going to see both of these defenses step up. We've got solid goaltending. The under strong trends towards that, going 13, 6, and 5 in the last 24 meetings in Boston. This is going to be a good game. Let's look at the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Montreal Canadiens. Now, Montreal, the dog at home, plus 205 here on the money line. I am seeing only 27% of the money sitting on Montreal right now. The Pittsburgh Penguins rolling in here, minus 255. Now, the Penguins are 2-0 on the season. Montreal, 1-2. Montreal got that win, remember? Over who? The other team we can't trust, the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs, Montreal is another nemesis for them. Before the last game, they were Montreal is 5-2 versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is one of those games where Montreal really does well in some dog situations against some teams. When they're an underdog against the Pittsburgh Penguins, they do well as well. The Penguins, on one day's rest, playing on the road, have had struggles in both of these situations. So on the road, they're 2-8 in their last 10 road games. On one day's rest, they're 4-10 in their last 14. I don't know if I can trust the Penguins here to get the win, especially at this value. I would not take them on that puck line. Can I trust Montreal? The Habs are just one of those teams. Can't really trust. What I do think is we will get points in this. Now we have a total of 6.5, and I know it's high. We've got Jari in net for the Penguins. We got Allen in for the Montreal Canadiens. I could see a 4-3 win here for either of these teams, kind of leaning on Montreal with that home ice. The underdog has gone 9-4 in those last 13 meetings. The Penguins trend nicely to that over, with 10 of their last 11 hitting that over. And their road games trending nicely to that over at 4-0 in their last 4. The over is also hit in 4 of the last 5 meetings between these two. So I know the total's high at 6.5. If I had to bet this one, I'd lean on the Montreal Canadiens on that money line, because you guys know I love that plus money. And I would lean on the over 6.5. The next game on the board is the Vancouver Canucks taking on the Washington Capitals. Now, the Vancouver Canucks, what can I say about them? I don't like them, you guys. I think the Washington Capitals with Darcy Kemper are the stronger team here. Demko coming out for the Vancouver Canucks. Now he has a solid goalie, but the Canucks have struggled in Washington, going 3-9 in the last 12 meetings, and that's between the two. In Washington, they have struggled as well. I'm going to lean on the Washington Capitals here to get this home win on the ice. The underdog has been strong between these two, but I just can't believe enough in the Canucks. This is one that I'll probably stay away from. I don't think I'm going to have a bet on it. Strong trends to that under between these two, and I can see it coming in between Demko and Kemper. Solid goalies here. We then have the LA Kings taking on the Detroit Red Wings. You guys know I love the Kings, and I love the ability of Jonathan Quick. He's looked pretty solid in goals so far this season. Husso coming out for the Detroit Red Wings. Now, Dylan Larkin has been great for the Detroit Red Wings this season. He's got 4 points, 1 goal, and 3 assists. He's done a really good job. He's really stepped up, and I'm liking what I'm seeing out of him. Now, strong trends to the home team when these two meet up, with 16 of the last 22 games, the home team getting the win. Now, the Kings have struggled also in Detroit, going 9-26 in that last 36 meetings. There was one push there, but the Kings in those last 4 meetings have done better, going 4-0. In my opinion, I got to ride with the Kings here. I just don't believe in Detroit as much as I should. I hate to say it, but this team just is one of those teams that doesn't do it for me. I think the under is probably the solidest way to look at this. The under is 6.5 in this. I think they're very evenly matched teams, both offensively and defensively. The only way this is going to get screwed up is if this one goes to OT. If it goes to OT, this is a 3-3 game. We're going to get over the 6.5 going into OT. So as long as these teams don't tie it up in that third period, we don't get overtime. I definitely think this is a 3-2 style game, and I lean on the Kings to take the win. The next game on the ice is the Colorado Avalanche taking on the Minnesota Wild. Now, this one kicks off at 8 o'clock Eastern. We have the Wild 0-2 on the season. I didn't expect this. This team is so powerful offensively, but they're still not getting the wins in those first 2 games. They've scored 9 goals, but are still winless. Their defense is just giving up way too many. They are allowing the goals after goals after goals. Now, Fleury is a net for the Minnesota Wild. Can he step up in this game? I really hope so. Minnesota needs to get a strong win here. Now, Colorado is -130. They're coming in as the favorite on the road here, starting Georgiev. And I think we will see Colorado do a solid performance here on the ice. They are allowing 3.5 goals, though. We have seen that. I think with both of these teams getting the goals and both of these teams allowing the goals, we can count on this over 6.5. I don't see this one staying under that number. They have trended to that under when these teams have being matched up, but I'm just not seeing it in this one. So give me the over 6.5. If I have to take a side, you guys, you know I'm going to go with the Minnesota Wild. They are on home ice tonight. They have looked strong offensively. If they can pull things together, I really think that they can get their first win of the season here. And when we look at Colorado going into Minnesota, they have struggled in Minnesota. They're 1-4 in their last 5 meetings in Minnesota. Strong trends to that favorite, though, but the home ice advantage is huge for these two, going 5-0 in those last 5 meetings. The next game on the ice is the Winnipeg Jets taking on the Dallas Stars. Now, the Dallas Stars have Ottinger. He is a phenomenal goalie. I am so glad the Edmonton Oilers didn't pick him up and picked up Jack Campbell instead. Ottinger stayed with the Dallas Stars. He's incredible. He's bad for Calgary. When Calgary plays against Ottinger, look out, because it's so hard to get the puck past him. Now, in this one, facing the Winnipeg Jets, we got Hellebuck on the other side. They beat the New York Rangers in their opening game. They're the ones who really screwed me up. Now, I have a thing against the Winnipeg Jets as well. As you guys will learn, I'm not the biggest fan of other Canadian teams other than my Calgary Flames. The Winnipeg Jets just have struggled on the road. They struggled last season, and I think this is another place where it's really hard for them to come into Dallas and win. Now, Dallas is a -140 favorite here on the money line. I think it's a solid way to go with them here. Robinson's been strong for them. They're a solid team. Now, the home team, the home ice is an advantage here, 16-5 in those last 21 meetings for that home team. The favorites also 6-1 in the last 7 meetings. These two, though, they play tight games. And we normally see overtime between these two teams. So what I would look at is I would sprinkle on this one going to overtime. We got a total of 6, and Ottinger is just so good that it's hard to say this one will go over. I think this is a 2-2 style game with the Dallas Stars getting the win if it goes to overtime, going 2-2. We can count on Ottinger to be able to keep this one for the home team here to get the win. Now, our next game on the ice and our last game on the ice, you guys, is the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Seattle Kraken. Now, the Kraken, the dog at home in this at plus 146 on that money line. This Carolina Hurricanes minus 176. We got Frederik Andersen expected in goal for the Hurricanes. What can I say about him? He is a mic drop. Absolutely. He's fantastic on this ice. I think we're going to have a low-scoring one in this. I think we're going to look for both defenses to really step up. Now, Carolina isn't a team that really lights up the board. Can they? Against Grubauer in for the Seattle Kraken? Absolutely they can. Grubauer is allowing 3.7 goals on average this season so far. And we have a Seattle Kraken team that is averaging 3.3 goals, getting those shots on goal at 34.3. But they're allowing 3.67 on only 28 shots on goal. Now, when we look at the Carolina Hurricanes, and this is I love the under here. The only thing is, if Seattle comes out uber weak, I say uber, I don't know why. I've never used the word uber before in my life, that Carolina could have one of those games where they pile up the goals. And this isn't a team that piles up the goals. They're known for their defense. They're averaging 3 goals per game on 39 shots on goal, only allowing 1, only allowing 25.5. They're going to limit the Kraken's ability to get those shots on goal. So I'm going to take this a couple ways. I do lean on that under. I think the Seattle Kraken's team total under 2.5 at minus 106 is absolutely solid because I don't see them getting more than 2 goals on Frederik Andersen here. I'd be shocked if they even got the 2. I'm going to do that. And then I think you can rely on Carolina to get a nice big win here. I'm not going to touch their team total. I'm not going to touch any of that. My favorite is the Kraken's team total under that 2.5. The under 6 is my lean, just because I could see Carolina getting 3 or 4. Seattle, I really only expect them to get 1. So we should stay under there. But the more I talk about it, the more I just like Seattle to get under that 2.5. But you guys, we're going to do a super fast. I almost said Uber again. I don't know what is on my mind. I did get an email from Uber this morning saying they missed me. So maybe that is what is happening. Let's do a quick recap of what I'm liking. You guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me, though, on Pocket with Joe. So if we go back to the top, the Anaheim Ducks taking on the New York Rangers, the under 6, I'm going to lean on, and I do like the Rangers to get the win, but again, too high on that money line. Arizona versus Toronto. Ooh, I have to take the Arizona Coyotes on that money line, you guys. I'm probably sprinkling on it more than I should tonight. I'm also going to take them on that puck line plus 2.5. Now, the Florida Panthers and the Boston Bruins, I like the under 6.5 in this with a lean on Boston to come out and get the win. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Montreal Canadiens, I think this one goes over the total of 6.5, leaning on Montreal to get the win here. Now, the Vancouver Canucks and the Washington Capitals, I'd have to lean on the under 6 in this one, with the Washington Capitals as my lean. The LA Kings and the Detroit Red Wings, I like the Kings here and under 6.5 for 2 evenly matched teams. The Colorado Avalanche and the Minnesota Wild, give me the over 6.5 and leaning on the Minnesota Wild to come out and get their first win here at home. Fleury to bounce back. Fleury needs to bounce back. Now, the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars. I lean on the Dallas Stars at minus 140 and the over 6 in this one. Don't love it. Don't love that over. Stay away from the total in this one. More and more I think about this one, the more and more I'm staying away from the total. I was liking the under as well. I can talk myself on both sides of this total. Dallas Stars minus 140 is the best way to go. The Carolina Hurricanes versus the Seattle Kraken. Give me the under in this one. Leaning on that, but the best bet being the Kraken's team total under 2.5. But you guys, that was it for Puck It with Joe. We're going to do this every day. I'm going to go through every game on the board, except maybe Saturday. Maybe I'll wrap that into Friday. For you guys, all the best in all of your bets. Keep smiling, and you know the drill. Let's make some puckin' money.